Welcome to another CEO Wisdom podcast. We have Kumar Sankaran with us today. Kumar is CEO and founder at Leucine Rich Bio. Leucine Rich Bio is all about the microbiome. So we're going to speak about that company today. Microbiome is quite interesting. It's the focus of a lot of biotech companies because I guess people discovered the power of the microbiome to be and boost your immune system. So taking care of it can drastically optimize your performances, increase your lifespan, and so forth. So it's going to be a fun conversation. This podcast is brought to you by podfire.com. If you want to start or scale your own podcast, go to podfire.com. We help you monetize podcasting. Kumar, welcome to the pod. Tell me a bit more about yourself and what you're up to now.
Thanks, Charles, for inviting me. Like I said, I've been working on the microbiome for the last 10 years now, and looking to scale our products and services beyond India, trying to become the number one in Asia right now.
So tell us about the start of Leucine. It was more than a decade ago when very few people gave attention to the microbiome. So tell us about the osmosis here.
Yeah, so I was working in drug discovery for early part of my career. Saw the side of you tend to give treatments when people are falling sick. There was no technology out there that could do preventive healthcare truly. Me and a couple of my friends wanted to do something in preventive healthcare, and that's when we stumbled upon the microbiome. So initially, for the first 6 months, we were wrestling with the idea. Thought it was pseudoscience to start off with, but then got more and more convinced about the power of the microbiome, and wanted to do small things with it, and then slowly, one step at a time, started putting it together and forming a company.
Right. And usually, yeah, these companies are a bit hard to get cash flow from. So I see you have Bugspeaks, Rich Bio, Meta Rich, and a whole bunch of other branches. So what's the cash flow generating branch of the company, and what's more like the research slash moonshot branch?
Bugspeaks is the cash flow right now. So that's the consumer or the patient testing profiling platform. That's the one that is doing really well across India. We've gone to a few countries across Asia as well, and slowly expanding to many other countries. Um, with the R&D stuff, I mean, the moonshot is trying to develop therapeutics around the microbiome. So, take, for example, any kind of cancer. Instead of targeting the cancer cell, can you target the microbiome to reverse cancer? So that's something that we are working on. A couple of things in the pipeline that should see clinical trial sometime in the next 2 3 years.
And how would that work? You'd indicate some cells in the stomach, some T cells, I guess, to go attack the cancer and eat it. Like, how would that work specifically? What's the thesis?
So if you look at it, I mean, there's a lot of microbial population which are very unique to certain type of cancer cells. Colorectal cancer, for instance, I mean, we're seeing signatures of very specific microbes around that, and in a very broad laymanish term, I think it's supplying food to the cancer cells. I mean, providing the energy resources to it. So if we can cut out that supply, I think you're starving the cancer and probably eliminating in that process.
Fascinating. And before we talk about healing, let's talk about prevention. What have you discovered in the last decade or so when it comes to microbiome and the immune system and its importance when it comes to taking care of it, taking supplements and so forth? Like, what have been your discovery?
First of all, the microbiome of every region is so unique. I mean, when we first started looking at the Indian and the Asian data, it was so different from what we've seen in the Western data. Initially, we were thinking that we were doing something wrong, but then as we started profiling more and more samples, we realized that just the shape and size of the microbiomes are so different here. Everything has very unique and different kinds of functions, but all, like you rightly said, culminating to immunity and factors like that. We did a clinical study very recently, and just through so we didn't use supplements or anything like that in that study, but just through nutritional interventions, we were able to improve on a lot of the immunity markers.
And as a normal human being, how should people take care of their guts? Is it mostly diet? Should they supplement? What's the normal regimen to have a healthy gut? And what kind of impact can that have on your mental performances as a founder, as a CEO, and on your longevity?
My firm belief is supplements are a good kickstart. I mean, it kickstarts your process of rebalancing the gut. But the long-term lasting solution only comes with good nutritional interventions. Supplements are good only to a certain extent, but if you don't pair that with a good nutritional regime, then the sustenance won't be there. Your gut will become dysbiotic very, very quickly. You could, I mean, just by, I mean, the microbiome, the gut-brain axis is so strong that if your gut is bad, then you don't function as well mentally, and if you're under a lot of stress mentally, then it also imbalances your gut. So since it's bidirectional, it's very, very important to keep your gut microbiome healthy for a good functioning mental well-being. In terms of longevity, I mean, there's a lot of work that's going on in longevity. I mean, there's a belief that just by correcting the gut microbiome, you'll be able to I won't say reverse aging, but at least stop any kind of aging that can happen. But it's still early science. There's still a long way to go about it. Right now, the tips I usually give is have a good gut microbiome, have a very diverse gut, and species in the gut, and then that'll take care of the rest of the health of the body.
Right. I was hanging out yesterday with someone that had celiac. I am prone to celiac, I think, from the test that I did back in the days. Do you recommend that people get tested first, or is the basics like just checking how your stools are looking? For example, there's like a stool scale test that you can do. Or is it like, hey, if I eat this food and I feel like shit afterwards, maybe I shouldn't eat it? Like, how should someone go with when it comes to their gut health, the basic?
So it depends on how severe any of your symptoms are. If you're symptomatic of something, I would recommend getting the gut test done. It'll give you a much clearer picture of what's going wrong, and then there are so many different factors that can go wrong that can be corrected. If the symptoms are very minimal and if you're just looking to stay healthy, just experimenting with foods that suit you and doesn't suit you should be good enough. But getting the test done at least once a year is a good way to know what your baseline is.
And with your company, why don't you sell tests, for example? Wouldn't that be step one?
We do. Bugspeaks is a gut microbiome profiling
Oh,
kit. I
that's what
mean,
I thought. I was like, yeah, yeah, that
so
makes a lot of sense. Tell me a bit more about that test. Like, is it different from the other ones, or did you patented a technology for the?
um, so I mean, I'm not getting too technical in it, but there are certain nuances that make it slightly different from other tests that's available around the globe. We have a couple of patents around it. One on the entire process of profiling, and the other one on the scores that we give in the report. The one thing that we try to do is make the report as user friendly as possible. So there's simple numerical scores, like from plus minus 10 to plus 10 kind of scoring system, which makes it easy to understand for anyone. The problem is the microbiome science is complicated. Everybody starts throwing out complicated terms, and the end user, just does not get what's happening. So we try to break it down and make it as simple as possible. But we've also layered the report in such a way that anybody wanting to see a much more detailed view of the report can keep going deeper and deeper and get a lot of scientific information.
Right. The test and the products, do you only sell them in India slash Southeast Asia, or do you also have plans of shipping the US and Europe?
We're doing a beta. So right now we're predominantly Asia, but we're doing some beta tests in trying to sell in the US and Europe. The testing part of it is simple. We've done close to about 500 to about 1,000 samples as a beta in both these countries. The supplements is slightly more tricky. You need to get the right kind of approvals and um, all the right documents in place. So that's something that we're doing right now. What we also do is a lot of personalization. So in terms of supplements, based on the test results, we do personalized probiotics and other kinds of supplements. So that's a little bit tricky when it comes to regulation. So that's something that we're working with the regs to get in place. Looking at a full launch by early 2025.
And how would you compete with Viome, for example?
So we difference in terms of how we want to go about rectifying the gut, and so initially it could be slightly harder sell when we're going, especially trying to convince people that this is, the science of it is slightly different, and this is how we tackle it. But we've seen great results here, and I think word of mouth will soon spread once we start getting a few customers on board.
Would there be a better method to testing your microbiome than shitting in something? It seems like it's so not elegant and clumsy way to test it. Like, have you thought of a cleaner and more premium way to test your microbiome?
There are two things that we've been thinking about. So this is a moonshot that I've been telling any bioengineer that I meet that I want a hands-free collection method, so that it's not messy and there's no yuck feeling that's coming into collecting the sample. So that's one thing that I'm trying to get a good design going. The second one that we're trying to see is there any way that we can try sampling the oral microbiome and then correlating with what's happening in the gut? So it might not be as good as the gut microbiome, but can we get um, at least 6 out of the 10 ounces just by looking at the oral microbiome?
What about like a smart toilet? Like these seem to cost a lot. I'm not sure why. It seems that there could be a device that is so easy and on a daily basis could tell you like, look, you ate this, and because of that, your stool is like that, and your energy levels are that way. And I don't think anyone's currently doing that. And I think that would be game changing for health. What are your thoughts on that?
It's an engineering challenge, and I think I know a few startups that's trying to work around trying to determine the microbial sequences and just within the entire system itself without actually collecting the sample. So it's an engineering problem, and I think that'll be cracked sooner rather than later.
So what are your top goals as a CEO this year? Is it selling more of these? Are you looking for funding? What are your priorities?
My priority is to expand to as many countries as possible. We have a tried and tested method now. We've gained recognition in other international markets. So we're trying to expand as much as possible and make it as widespread. The one thing that we've done really well is be really good in our unit economics. So yeah, at some point of time, I want the microbiome test to be accessible to all, to democratize it as much as possible, and not make it this very pricey test that only a few can afford. So these are the two things that we're parallelly working on, and seeing if we can expand as fast as possible using this.
And regarding to what I was mentioning, from refrigerator to toilet, like what would be the full cycle? Is it like a smart AI fridge that would detect like what food I'm getting out? Is it smart glasses that would detect what I'm eating? Is it a device in my mouth that would be understanding that this day I'm eating this, and as a result I'm feeling that way? Like what would be the sensors that would detect the data?
I'm seeing a lot of sensors going in the produce itself. So when it's coming from the farms itself, you're getting a good look at what's happening at the food. How much of pesticides are there, um, how much of the natural microbiome that's present on vegetables and fruits, what's happening in. So then I see a lot of companies doing R&D in the refrigeration, like you said. Visual AI, looking at different textures and looking at what the microbiome population would look like. And then finally, when it gets into the plate and into our system, what's actually going in is something that we're constantly trying to see. These kind of technologies have already existed. I mean, restaurants have been doing it for a long time to look for pathogens. We just have to alter that now to look at the entire microbial ecosystem. So, like I said, I mean, these all this tech is going to come to us sooner rather than later.
And tell me about oral microbiome, like you announced crown biome some time ago. That seems very, very important, like just like oral health. At some point I was eating like once a day, and I think I'd brush my teeth like once a day because I thought like all the toothpaste was like somewhat toxic, but then I realized this was affecting my gut and my performances. So, yeah, oral health is quite important and does affect your full body. Tell me a bit more about that.
It's the gateway to the gut. So it's very, very important to look at the oral microbiome and actually maintain that. We've now given a lot of importance to the gut microbiome and the skin microbiome, but very, very less importance to the oral. I think a lot of focus needs to go into that. What kind of toothpastes we are using, what kind of mouthwash we're using, how we're doing. Most of us are reluctant to go to the dentist for a yearly checkup, but having that oral ecosystem in good balance is probably the number one priority. It's more important than actually looking at the gut.
Also, tell me like your supplements with all the active probiotics in there, like how do you make sure that these probiotics stay alive? I'm from Quebec, Canada, and there's this company called Bioka. Maybe you know them. They're pretty good. And they refrigerate the drink, right? Just like a yogurt. So yeah, it tends to stay alive. I think they have studies on that. I'm not sure, like in the end, how much billions of probiotics you're getting. They advertise for 25 billions, 50 billions, respectively. They have various products. I consume them when I'm in Quebec. Tell me about your supplement. How do you make sure that these little bacteria stay alive from the moment they hit your stomach?
So one is to get the right kind of capsulation to be in place so that the stomach acid is not destroying a lot of the a lot of the bacteria. So gastric acid resistant capsules, having one or two layers of coating always helps. So that's one way of doing it. The second thing that I keep suggesting to a lot of the clients is actually open the pill into curds or milk and let that ferment a little bit and then consume it. So you're getting the benefits of the right kind of supplements, but it's going in the form of food, which helps colonize the gut that much better. So these are two different ways in which we're trying to do it. I'm not a big fan of powders and sachets because I think the stomach acid destroys all the probiotics. I prefer a pill over anything else.
Thank you so much, Kumar, for the information you've shared today. Where can people find out more about you?
I'm on Twitter. I'm at Biome Shankar on Twitter, and um, have a LinkedIn page also. Yeah, that's my LinkedIn page.
Thank you so much.